This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Strap on that helmet because we're about to jump into a little ship that's going to bring us back in time. All the way back to maybe 200 million BC and all the way up through, some AD times. We're looking at Loop Inc. This is a game where obviously you're going back in time, but you're having to loop back and forth through the same days and use multiple actions at the same time. Sort of a Euro-driven card playing game and manipulation, engine building, a little bit of efficiency. It's 2 to 4 players, takes about 30 to 45 minutes to play. Let me show you, I'll see you on the other side. In Loop Inc., you're going to be time traveling to different spots in time. For example, these 3 cards are BC time. 350 million BC, catch the first flying insect. Or 200,000 BC, walk with the Neanderthals. Or hunt a mammoth, 10,000 BC. And you'll be getting certain points, 9, 7, 8, 7, for doing those certain things. And there's certain ones that are in AD. So the latest one is 1921 AD. You could visit the Golden Age of Paris for 4 points. Now, these are sort of randomly set up at the beginning of the game, a certain amount of cards depending on a certain amount of players. Now, here we have the scoreboard, which will keep track. It's beautiful, yet kind of busy. And here we have different places we'll be getting things for our time traveling device. So we have the garage, where we'll be getting wheels or propellers. The shop, we'll be getting nets and such. And the armory, we'll be getting some cool things there. And here are different stacks of cards that have different actions. And on our board, we have up to 3 days and 3 different time travel devices. What we do is day 1, we're just going to have 1. On the second day through, we'll have 2. And on the third day, we will have 3. So today, we just have 1 of them for day 1. Now here you'll see stacks of 7 different action cards. There's a certain amount of cards put up, depending on the amount of players. And each stack basically has all of the same cards in them. And since this game's played over 3 days, what's going to happen is the first day, you're going to get 3 actions. And all the actions are basically written right on these cards. It's going to go in turn order. Someone will take an action, the next player, so on and so forth. You'll take another one. Once everyone's taken 3 actions, the first day will end. The second day, you'll end up playing all those 3 cards that you played the first day in the exact same order, plus you'll take 3 new actions, so you'll have a total of 6 in day 2. And the third day, you're going to take the 6 cards from the first 2 days. You have to play them in that same order again, but intermingled between those, you'll have 3 new actions. So it's 3 actions in round 1, 6 actions in round 2, and 9 total actions in round 3. Let's talk about what these do. If you take any of these 3 actions, the garage, shop, or armory, let's say I take the garage card, I'd put this in front of me, and I would take either a wheel or a propeller. I could take one. Now there's only a certain amount of components, depending on the amount of players that are there. Let's take the wheel. In here, I only have 1 time capsule for the first day, so I'll just go ahead and attach the wheel to it. And maybe the next action, I go to the shop, I take this card, and let's say I take this. And I'll put this right there. Everyone else will take an action. I'll come back to my last action of the first round. And I could go to the same spot again and take multiples of the same thing. But in this case, I'm going to go to the armory and take one of these armory components. And I will place this here. So I have the armory, the little telescope, and the wheel. And at this point, I can just launch my ship when I'm ready. And I'm going to go back to 1347 AD and survive the Black Death. I'm going to go here because I have these 3 items exactly right, and I would get 6 points. So down here, I would move my guy right here to 6. Now, if someone else later on this round also went here, they'd be the second person to go here. And since they're second, they actually cause a tear in the time gap. Now, on the bottom of your boards, if you take a tear penalty token, the first one you take is going to be -1 at the end of the game. Second one is going to be -3. Third one's -6. If you take 4 of them, you're just out of the game completely. You also take one of these things in a bunch of other different ways. For example, once my ship is launched, I can't add, move, or subtract anything from it. And let's say an action said I had to take an armory and this was my only ship left, and I can't put it on there, I'd have to take a tear. Let's say I was going to take a component. Let's say I need to go to the garage and I had to play the garage card, and let's say I really needed one of these, or let's say all these were gone and I needed to take a garage and I couldn't, I'd take a tear token. And there's a few other ways that you'd get those tear tokens. Basically, anytime you're supposed to do something that you can't do because of there's no components or your ship's gone or something, take a tear token. Now let's say I actually had this on there. I had an extra propeller. Going to that location, which was surviving the Black Death, didn't need this. I have extra stuff. Essentially, the extra stuff turns into minus points, and I put this back into my penalties for the end of the game. So at the end of the first round, I have these 3 cards, and they have to stay in this order. It's very important to keep them in this order. Now, getting ready for the next round, we'd make sure that there's the right amount of equipment there again, just like normal. Anywhere that I went either goes up here in this card or down here in this card. This just means that I can't go here ever again later in this game. Now it's day 2, so I'll actually get a day 2 ship 1, day 2 ship 2. So now I have 2 ships that I could do. And some of these other cards start making more sense now. So for example, I have stuff on this ship and nothing on. I need to start using some of these other cards, like take one or more components from your time machines and discard them from the game. I need to trash because I don't need to have extra stuff, because as you saw, they turn into negative points. I can exchange, return a component from one of my time machines and take a new one from any of the component tiles. Or I can move a component from one of my ships to another. Those are some of the other actions that you may take. You could have taken those in the first round, but they don't make as much sense. Advertisement is one of the actions we didn't talk about. Basically, you can place an advertisement saying you're going somewhere. So essentially, if I think I'm going to be going here, I advertise. This means I'm essentially there first, which means if somebody else tries to put their person there, they're actually second. And as we know, when they're second somewhere, they're going to get a tear from before. So advertising says you're going to go there. And then if you do eventually go there this day, you will basically get 1 extra point at the end of the game for that. If you advertise and you don't go there, it'll be a -3 penalty. Now in the second round, remember I told you to keep these in order. What happens is now, this game, this round, I have to play these in this order, but I can sprinkle 3 new actions in somewhere else. Maybe I want the garage to be first, maybe not. Maybe I want to trash first and then garage next. And then maybe we advertise, and then we shop, and then we armor, and then maybe we move. So they have to be kept in the same order, but you can sprinkle new actions over the second round of the game. At the end of the second round, we'll reset up like I just showed you, and now you're gonna have to play in the last round of the game. You have these 6 cards. They have to be played in this order, but you can intermingle you have to intermingle 3 new actions in with this. So maybe I didn't really want to do trash first, maybe I really need to shop again. Right? I have to shop, and then maybe, okay, now I do trash for some reason. And then maybe I have to do an exchange, and then I do a garage, and then advertise, and then maybe I had to do a garage for a new action, and then there. 9 actions at the end of the third round, and that would be the end of the game. And obviously it's the one who has the most points at the end is the winner. And a couple other things to note is obviously as you're keeping stuff from day to day and you're getting certain things, you're going to be looking for places that repeat the same types of things that you can use, you know, for this mission and for future missions. And the last thing to mention is after each round, a number of anomaly cards per player are going to come out, and these are special actions people can take, and they're going to be different each game. For example, this shift. Play a card from later in your hand, place this card in that card spot. When this card is later played, it does nothing. So it's a way to sort of manipulate, because you're usually forced to play things in certain orders. This allows you to manipulate that. Remove a component from the shop or garage or armory tiles. This component can no longer be used in the game. You might want to do that to screw somebody else, because you know they're going to have to take an armory, and you can make it empty, and therefore they'd have to take a tear. Echo. Repeat a card you have already played this day. So just different things, and there's a ton of these that give the game a little bit of a twist. All right, well, there's Loop Inc. Now, this game has a lot of interesting ideas to it that are new, things that I've never, come in contact with before, that I've never experienced, and I liked that about this, that it did have some new things. I liked the components of the game. They're very well done. Eagle Gryphon always does top-notch artwork, top-notch components. The insert was awesome. It has a little cover that goes on there. Not sure if I showed that in the overview, but top-notch components and top-notch artwork from Eagle Gryphon like normal. And this game does have some interesting things there. Just the whole idea of, hey, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna have to take 3 actions. And then later on in a future day, I've gotta take those 3 actions in that exact order, but I'm going to be able to sprinkle in 3 other actions in between those or around those as I see fit. And then the last day, I've got to take those 6 same actions and do them in that exact order, but then I have 3 more new ones I can sprinkle in. And the idea of that is actually really cool. And it is, parts of that is cool. And the idea of this being this new thing that I've never experienced before did make some light bulbs go off in my head and did make me think a lot. This is a very thinky game. This is one of those games where at the beginning of the game, and this could be good or bad for you, at the beginning of the game, you're looking out at the different places that you can go, and you can see what you need to go there. And a lot of your planning really needs to happen before the game, because what you do, even the first round, is really important because you're going to be forced to take those actions 3 times throughout the game. So you're looking at if you get things that maybe aren't used as much during the later game, you're going to have to finagle and move things around, maybe trash some items and things like that. So you really have a lot of planning up front once you get to know the game. Some people will really like that. Some people will not like that. And conversely, because of that, a lot of times you can really mess yourself up later in the game and have to take a bunch of tears because those penalty points, because of some early planning that you screwed up on. And some people are not going to like that. Overall, I found the game to be interesting, and I think there's a really good idea here. But for me personally, it did not click. I mean, I understand how it played and you know, the feeling of what they were going after, and parts of that were interesting. But in the end, I felt like it was still a little too constrictive as you're making your choices, and how much those affect later on. It just made it to the point where it wasn't enjoyable for me, nor any of the players that I had played this with. For us, we felt like it was a little more unforgiving. There's a lot of things that you can't really plan for. For example, okay, you kind of know what other people have taken during the game, but you're never going to remember who took what in what order for all the other players. And so you're maybe in the 3rd round and you're building up, and you know what? Everyone else has already taken everything from there. So there's no device to take from the one you want. You're going to take a tear, and it's like, it was probably been really hard to concentrate just on that one action, whether I would get a tear for it or not, with all the craziness that's going on with everybody else, plus 3 new actions that they're taking. So there's a lot of things that might hit you that you don't expect to hit you, and they hit you pretty hard, because 4 of those tears and you're out of the game. 3 of them, and it's pretty bad for you point-wise. Typically, people are going to take tears in this game, but you know, I felt like it was kind of smacking me around a little bit like that. So overall, it's got some interesting ideas here. There are things about it I did like, but in the end, it was just too weird. It was just too not executed, I guess, in the way that I would have wanted it to feel. I didn't feel like I was time traveling. I felt like I was just grabbing parts and set collection for places that I'm going. So overall, it's one I can recommend. It's not one that really sat well with me or anybody I played it with. Interesting idea, but in the execution, it's not one that we're going to be coming back to, and that's Loop Inc.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.